You know, there's something fascinating about ancient texts that were deliberately hidden from us. And I'm not talking about conspiracy theories here. I'm talking about actual historical documents that were buried literally for almost 2,000 years. In 1945, somewhere in Upper Egypt, a peasant was digging near Nag Hammadi, where he struck something hard. It was a red clay jar. Inside that jar were 13 ancient manuscript scrolls bound with leather. These weren't just any scrolls. They contained texts that the early church had decided we shouldn't read. One of these was the Gospel of Thomas. Here's where it gets interesting. Parts of his gospel were actually smuggled out of Egypt and ended up on the black market. Some fragments made their way to the Carl Jung Foundation. And that's when scholars realized what they had, a complete gospel that had been missing for centuries. So why was it missing? Well, back in 325 AD, Emperor Constantine gathered religious leaders at the First Council of Nicaea. They sat down and basically edited the Bible. They decided what stayed and what got cut. The Gospel of Thomas, cut. The Book of Enoch, gone. The Gospel of Mary, removed. The official reason was to make everything more accessible and understandable for regular people. But there's another explanation that's way more compelling. These texts contain knowledge, powerful, ancient knowledge that didn't align with the direction the church wanted to take. So they removed them. And here's the thing. Throughout history, people who followed these teachings paid a heavy price. They were labeled as Gnostics, and many were burned or killed for their beliefs. These weren't heretics or crazy people. They were seekers who unified ideas from different spiritual traditions, trying to find deeper truths. Let me read you the opening line of the Gospel of Thomas, because it's absolutely mind-blowing. These are the secret words spoken by the living Jesus and recorded by Didymus. Judas Thomas. Jesus said, "Whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." Stop and think about that for a second. Right from the start, we're being told something radical, that understanding these teachings leads to eternal life. Not physical immortality, but the realization that we, as spiritual beings, as consciousness itself, are eternal. Now, a lot of what we think we know about Jesus has been filtered, edited, and, frankly, altered over the centuries. The original message wasn't about creating followers or building a hierarchy. It was about creating equals. It was about leaders working together, not division and control. 1. Jesus was fundamentally a teacher. And if you look at the Bible, even the version we have today, there are hints of this. Your faith makes the difference, right? Remember the story about Jesus returning to Nazareth? The people, they knew him as just a carpenter's son. They didn't believe the stories about his miracles. And you know what happened? He couldn't perform any miracles. There. Why? Because belief creates reality. What we know to be true, what we believe. In our core, that's what manifests in our experience. But let's get to the really interesting stuff. Here's one of my favorite passages from the Gospel of Thomas. If those who lead you say to you, "See, the kingdom is in the sky," then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, "It is in the sea," then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. This completely flips the script on traditional religious teaching. We're not inferior beings looking up to some distant kingdom. The power, the kingdom, whatever you want to call it, it's already within us. It's always been there. We spend our entire lives searching for meaning outside ourselves. We look for validation, for purpose, for fulfillment in external things. But the real treasure is internal. Socrates said that learning is just remembering. Everything is already available to us as information. We just limit ourselves with our beliefs and our conditioning. Here's another powerful section that really drives this home. He who seeks, let him not cease seeking until he finds. and when he finds, he will be troubled. And when he is troubled, he will be amazed, and he will reign over the whole. Again, no hierarchy, no inferiors and superiors. The person who makes conscious choices in the present moment, who knows their true inner self, explores reality with intention, that person will find what they seek, and they will reign over everything they've created through their conscious decisions. Think about the word religion for a moment. It comes from religare, which means to return to yourself. It's not about following external rules or dogma. It's about returning to your true nature, to what you've forgotten so you can see it with fresh eyes. The disciples once asked Jesus, "Tell us what our end will be." His response is brilliant. Have you then deciphered the beginning that you ask about the end? For where the beginning is, there shall be the end. Blessed is the man who reaches the beginning. He will know the end and will not taste death. Everything exists here and now. The past is memory, emotion, nostalgia, but it's not real in this moment. The future is imagination and possibility, but it's also not real right now. The only thing that's real is this present moment. When the disciples asked Jesus to show them where he was since they needed to seek it, he said, "Whoever has ears, let him hear. There is light within a man of light, and he lights up the whole world." It already exists. We don't have to search for it externally. We are the regulators. We decide how much light to let in, how much kindness to express, how pure our hearts will be in any given moment. So where do we come from? The gospel gives us this answer. It is from light. That we have come from the place where light of its own accord came into existence and stood at rest, and has been shown forth in an image. We are offspring of that light. We are chosen, and I want to emphasize that word, chosen by the living Father, the one who experiences reality and makes choices in the present moment. That's each and every one of us. The disciples asked when the kingdom would come. Jesus said, "It will not come by waiting for it. It will not be a matter of saying, here it is, or there it is. Rather, the kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and people do not see it." This is huge. The wholeness we seek, the completeness, the truth, it's already available as information. It exists as a global energy field that contains everything. We access it differently, some through dreams, others through meditation, some through breathing techniques, others through intuition. But it's all there, spread out before us. We just don't see it because we're not looking in the right way. Here's a passage that really hit me hard. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Follow your passion. Follow your heart. Follow what you truly desire. Because if you don't, it will destroy you. Not in some dramatic way, necessarily, but slowly. You'll follow other paths, chase other people's dreams, live other people's lives. And in doing so, you'll kill your own passion. You'll destroy your opportunity to experience the greatest joy of being alive and human. And finally, there's this beautiful teaching. Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Don't you understand that the one who made the inside is also the one who made the outside? What we're on the outside is what we are on the inside. How we treat others is how we treat ourselves. The decisions we make for the world around us reflect our internal state. This is how we learn about ourselves, by observing our actions and their effects. 3. Look, here's the real message behind all of this. We have a choice. We can give ourselves entirely to the physical world, accumulate material wealth, chase external validation, and in doing so, forget our spiritual nature. Or we can go to the other extreme and reject the material world entirely. But the truth is in the balance. Matter is just another form of energy. Science has proven this. The realization comes when we unite these two extremes into one direction, when we understand that the spiritual and the material aren't separate. They're two aspects of the same infinite reality. These teachings were hidden for a reason. They're powerful. They put the authority in your hands, not in the hands of an institution. They tell you that you're already complete, already whole, already divine. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need someone to tell you how to interpret life or God or reality. Each of us is unique. Each of us has the right to understand any text, any teaching, any idea in whatever way resonates with us. Nobody can tell you how to perceive reality or what the meaning of life is for you. Because you are life. You're the path. You're everything there is. That's what the Gospel of Thomas really teaches. Not subservience, but empowerment. Not waiting for salvation, but recognizing that you already are. What you seek. The kingdom is within you and around you, spread out upon the earth, waiting for you to open your eyes and see it. And finally, there's this beautiful teaching. Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Don't you understand that the one who made the inside is also the one who made the outside? What we're on the outside is what we are on the inside. How we treat others is how we treat ourselves. The decisions we make for the world around us reflect our internal state. This is how we learn about ourselves, by observing our actions and their effects. 3. Look, here's the real message behind all of this. We have a choice. We can give ourselves entirely to the physical world, accumulate material wealth, chase external validation, and in doing so, forget our spiritual nature. Or we can go to the other extreme and reject the material world entirely. But the truth is in the balance. Matter is just another form of energy. Science has proven this. The realization comes when we unite these two extremes into one direction, when we understand that the spiritual and the material aren't separate. They're two aspects of the same infinite reality. These teachings were hidden for a reason. They're powerful. They put the authority in your hands, not in the hands of an institution. They tell you that you're already complete, already whole, already divine. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need someone to tell you how to interpret life or God or reality. Each of us is unique. Each of us has the right to understand any text, any teaching, any idea in whatever way resonates with us. Nobody can tell you how to perceive reality or what the meaning of life is for you. Because you are life. You're the path. You're everything there is. That's what the Gospel of Thomas really teaches. Not subservience, but empowerment. Not waiting for salvation, but recognizing that you already are. What you seek. The kingdom is within you and around you, spread out upon the earth, waiting for you to open your eyes and see it. The thing that really gets me about all of this is how relevant it is today. We're living in a time where people are more disconnected from themselves than ever before. We're constantly bombarded with external messages about who we should be, what we should want, what success looks like. And yet, here's this ancient text telling us the exact opposite. It's saying stop looking outside, stop waiting for permission, stop thinking you need to become something other than what you already are. The light is already within you. I think about the people who were killed for believing these things, the so-called Gnostics who were burned at the stake. Or were they really guilty of teaching people that they had direct access to the divine, that they didn't need intermediaries? That truth could be found through personal experience, an inner knowing that's threatening to any institution that relies on being the gatekeeper between people and God. But it's liberating for individuals. It means your spirituality is your own. Your relationship with the divine, with truth, with reality. That's personal. The Gospel of Thomas doesn't give you rules to follow. It gives you questions to contemplate. It gives you paradoxes to wrestle with. The kingdom is inside you and outside you. Where the beginning is, there shall be the end. These aren't simple answers. They're invitations to think deeper. 4. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people. We like certainty. We like being told exactly what to do. We like our spiritual paths laid out in clear steps. But real growth, real understanding, that's messy. It troubles you as the gospel says, before it amazes you that I've spent a lot of time thinking about why these texts were really removed. When you actually read the Gospel of Thomas, it's not that complicated. The core messages are pretty straightforward. Look within, the kingdom is now, you are already complete. What's really threatening about that message is that it removes the need for external authority. If the kingdom is already here, spread out upon the earth, then we don't need to wait for some future salvation. If the light is already within us, we don't need someone else to illuminate the path. That's a radically different message from what became mainstream Christianity. And I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm just saying they're different, and people should know about both. There's also something profound about the emphasis on movement and stillness, on the integration of opposites. We live in such a binary world. Everything is either or. You're spiritual or materialistic, successful or a failure, good or bad. But the Gospel of Thomas points to something beyond that binary thinking. It suggests that truth lies in holding paradoxes. The kingdom is within and without. You come from light, and you're also in the material world. Movement and repose are both signs of the Father within you. This is actually more aligned with how reality works at the quantum level. Particles are both waves and particles. Light is both energy and matter. The ancient mystics somehow understood this without electron microscopes. What I find most beautiful about these teachings is the emphasis on personal experience. Whoever has ears, let him hear. It's not about blind belief. It's about direct knowing. It's about discovering truth through your own experience. And that journey looks different for everyone. Some people find it through meditation, others through art or music or nature, some through breath work or fasting, some through service to others or deep relationships or moments of crisis that crack them open. There's no one right way. The warning about not bringing forth what's within you, that one really stays with me. How many people do you know who are living lives of quiet desperation? Or are you going to take the plunge? To cease not seeking until you find, even. Knowing will trouble you before it amazes you. To discover the interpretation of these sayings. Look, I'm not here to convert anyone. I'm not saying you should throw away your beliefs or that this is the only truth. What I am saying is that these teachings offer something valuable, a different perspective through which to view reality. The Gospel of Thomas doesn't demand anything except curiosity and willingness to look within. It doesn't promise heaven or threaten hell. It simply says, here's what's true about you. Wake up and see it. These questions are just as relevant today as 2,000 years ago. Maybe more relevant, given how disconnected we've become from our true nature. So what do you think? Does this resonate? Have you encountered these teachings? How do they land for you? Drop a comment and let's explore this together.